IIT Guwahati, dignitaries, moderators, faculty members, and attendees. A very good evening to all of you. So myself, Dr. Deep Muni, on behalf of dedicated session on Northeast Industry Academia, Research and Development Ecosystem and Related Policies, would like to welcome all of you to the Northeast Research Conclave and Assam Biotech Conclave organized by IIT Guwahati and Government of Assam. Before starting the session, I request the moderator, Professor Visma Kumar Patel, sir, to kindly assist the dignitary, Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana, Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Yudh Seva Medal, Sena Medal. And also Deputy Director, IIT Guwahati, Professor Sachin Kakoti, to the dais. Now, I request Professor Patel to felicitate our esteemed guest, Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana, with a Fulam Gamusa and a flower bouquet. I request Professor Rajiv Kumar Bhattacharya to felicitate our Deputy Director, sir, with a Fulam Gamusa and a flower bouquet. Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor Patel to start the proceedings of the session.
Thank you, Dr. Deepmani, and very good evening to you all. Today, in this session, which is dedicated session on the Northeast Industry Academia, R&D ecosystem and related policies. Today we had basically planned for the fourth speaker, but due to some last-minute emergency, we have only one and only the prominent speaker of the day, and which is Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana. So I'll just introduce him. Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana was commissioned into infantry on 19th of December 1987. He is a graduate from the National Defense Academy, Kadakwasal, and a postgraduate from the Defense Service Staff College, Wellington. He is an alumnus of the prestigious National Defense College, New Delhi, Center for National Defense Studies, Madrid, Spain, and National Defense University, USA. In an illustrious career spanning over 34 years, Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana has tenanted important staff and command assignments. He has been teaching faculty at various paramount institutes such as Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, College of Defense Management, Secunderabad, and Army War College, Mo. He has been conferred with awards of Ati Vishisht Seva Medal, Yudh Seva Medal for exceptional services in operational area, and Sena Medal for gallantry in Kashmir. He has also been specially commended by Chief of the Army Staff and Army Commander, Eastern Commander for the operational accomplishment. The General Officer has authored various research papers and articles on the leadership and strategic issues, focus on military modernization to include China's military, civil fusion strategy, and China's military diplomacy in new era with implications for India. The General Officer has completed his research work for PhD on military modernization of China since 2003. He has submitted the final thesis. The General Officer took over as General Officer Commanding 4 Corps on 21st of March 2022. With this brief introduction, may I invite upon Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana to deliver his today's evening talk.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Good evening to everyone here. First of all, I would like to thank IIT Guwahati and in particular Dr. T.G. Sitharam for inviting me to give a talk on this important contemporary issue of Indian Army's initiative toward self-reliance. In fact, our Army Commander General Kalita had also come here and he had invited him also to be present here, but due to unavoidable reason, he is not here. But a lot of interactions have been done at various levels with IIT Guwahati and we're moving ahead with a lot of issues with them. Now, coming on to this important topic of Indian Army's initiative toward self-reliance. Prime Minister Modi, when he talked about self-reliance in 2014, he first talked about defense production. Thereafter, he did talk about digital India, and in May this year itself, he talked about self-reliance as far as technology is concerned in all fields. So, importance of defense for self-reliance has been realized in India, and the reasons and how we are moving ahead, I shall be covering ahead. Next. This is how I shall cover my talk. Subheads. I shall cover also something about civil-military fusion, which is the global perspective, how globally this has been looked at and where are we in India about this important aspect. Now, it's very important before I move ahead that every one of us understand what is future battlefield is going to be. Now, historically, all the wars which have been fought, the reasons have almost been the same. There may be slight variation, but the way these wars have been fought have been different, quite different because of changes in technology and also because of many other factors. Now, the future wars, as we can see here, this will be a multi-domain environment. It will not be restricted to land, sea or air. What we have been seeing is Second World War. It is now related to space, it is cyber and information warfare. So it is all encompassing and includes a lot of other things. There will be more focus on long-range weaponries, as we have seen in even Ukraine war, what is happening there, with increased lethality and with greater amount of precision of the weapon system, which was there in the earlier times, supported by great amount of transparency in the battlefield with the new technology system of intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. There is more focus on the non-contact warfare in terms of kinetic as well as non-kinetic. In non-kinetic, we talk about cyber and other issues. So in new future battlefield, there will be blurred boundaries between what is forward and what are rear echelons, what is military and what is civil. You will find that future warfare will affect all of us, whether we are in military or in civil. So it's important that we understand that it is not only the military's role when we prepare a future battlefield, it is a whole nation approach which has to be there. And that is the reason why we all must understand our duties when we come to this important aspect. Now, when we will look at the future battlefield, which I have just covered. The framework of this future battlefield are on 4 macro environmental issues, that is economics, threat, political will, and technology. Out of this, the technology is very important. The technology will, in future battlefield, outweigh the numerical superiority. Now, this was highlighted also as by the quote of our ex-Chief of Army Staff, which is written at the bottom. So, technology plays a very important role, and the technological self-reliance is the mantra for future. And in this, the whole nation has to come into play. The Indian industry has made lot of strides in the future, in the present times, recent times. They have made their space in the global arena. And they have also contributed to emerging India as a important status. However, its footprints in defense industry needs to be seen. And it's improving as we go ahead, but the potential is a lot there, but it needs to improve. Now, when we are coming to the next slide, this slide basically explains, on the periphery of this slide are the emerging technologies or the future technology, or we can call it disruptive technologies, which gives competitive advantage. And in the center, like weapons, missile, communication, electronic warfare, and sensors, these are the few of the things which military will require. It is not a complete, but some of the things. Now, it's very important to understand on the periphery the emerging technology. The forecasting of this technology, how does it meet the requirements and the future requirements of the military, which is indicated. Now, when we understand that, then there will be correct policy decisions would be taken, and the priority of investment will be at the correct places, which will affect the future, how we prepare for the future battlefield. Now, need for self-reliance in defense. I will just spend some time on this important aspect so that we all understand this important dynamics. First of all, India in particular has got a very specific and a different security environment. We have a very belligerent neighbor on the north, China, which has been progressing and developing its military with help of a lot of technology. And a lot of modernization has been undertaken by China in recent past. We also have a hostile neighbor on the west, as we all are aware. In addition, we have the element of proxies by some of the hostile countries which are doing in our country. So, to meet all that requirement, this is very peculiar requirement. Why I'm highlighting, very less countries have this kind of security requirements when we look at the threat perception. But if you see our defense budget, it is very meager, $70 billion as compared to China, 209, and what US has got is $801 billion. So with this meager defense budget, it's very important that we have good competitive technology which is homegrown and at reasonable price, so that the meager defense budget what we have got, we can bridge the gap with our opponents. So if we all understand this, then we realize that this competitive advantage or bridging the gap which is required, it has to be done primarily by way of technology for future battlefield. Now, investment in military modernization has got high payoffs. Some people say that it is just an investment, how it is going to go. The money is going into these. And now see the investment, the defense budget is very reasonable as far as we are concerned. To get best buck out of this, we have to invest in good technology, which I mentioned. And when we invest in good technology, good production in-house, there will be more employment which will be generated within the country. The industries, what comes up, there will be a lot of ancillary industries which will come up. The technology which we imbibe may also go to the commercial environment outside. So it has major payoffs in military modernization. We also look at revenue generation, because what the target has been now put by the government is very ambitious and good target. By 2025, we hope to have indigenous production worth $25 billion equivalent, around 1.76 lakh crores, and with exports of almost $5 billion, which amounts to almost 35,000 crores. So we have achieved now from 2014 and beyond, and if you see now, the defense exports have also improved quite a lot. Now coming on to the next is about the overarching Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan or initiative, which has been launched. And defense self-reliance is a subset of the same. So you are all aware of this. I'll just cursory go through this. Launched in 2014, covers 25 distinct sectors, which include defense production and defense exports. The government hopes to catch on the advances made by the private sector, and with large political will, the government has been able to make some changes in the structures and the procedures, which has enhanced ease of doing business, so as to leverage public-private partnership. And now you see a lot of public-private partnership, good examples are coming up, and we have AK-203 series rifles which are coming up in Amethi. Then you have France has promised about making the construction of or manufacturing of engines in India. So there are certain other things which are going, and it will improve with time. Now, when we come to the defense sector, which I mentioned is a subset of the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. In the defense sector, we had the defense production policy, which many of you must be aware of, 2016, which was revised, and now it is called as Defense Acquisition Policy 2020. Now it has made things easier for the private investors and others to pitch in as far as the indigenous manufacture of defense equipment is concerned. The make models have been simplified. A new model of Make 2 has come in which the industries can invest from their own side and then progress ahead. The earlier category of indigenized, developed, designed, developed, and manufacture has been given preference in this DAP 2020. The FDI has increased from 49% to 74%, which is a good number. And in certain cases, if it's through a government route and it brings in a modern technology, even it can go up to 100%. The earlier joint venture models which were there, it has been upgraded to strategic partnership model in which there will be transfer of technology with the foreign OEMs. The foreign people, investors who come, will be able to get their know-how and know-why, both of them. The industrial license procedure has been made more simplified. Now it is extended to 18 years. The defense industrial corridors are coming up in 2 of the states as indicated, that is Tamil Nadu and UP. The investment is almost to the tune of 20,000 crores by 2024, which will give boost to MSMEs in a big number. And government has also coming out with a positive indigenization list. There are 3 lists have come out. The latest one has been this year itself, which total counts to 310 items, which will not be imported from other countries. So there is a good chance now for private players to actually pitch in and do this kind of manufacture and meet the requirement of defense forces. Now, some of the initiatives already undertaken, I'll just go over this. Some of these you may be aware. Last year was corporatization of the 200-year-old Ordnance Factory Board, which used to run 45 ammunition and ordnance factories. Now they have been converted into 7 state-owned corporate enterprises, which is governed by the company rules. So it has become more effective now, and I'll cover that how it is now translating later. Within the Army, we have done a lot of changes. Capillary Development Directorate has been formed. The Army Design Bureau has been created within the Army, which is looking after many important aspects, which I shall cover as I go ahead. A lot of startups are being leveraged, and a lot of technology symposiums are being conducted at various levels, like you have Air Show, you have Defense Expo. In May 2000, this year itself, there was North Tech in Udhampur, and now we have upcoming East Tech in Calcutta, where all of you are invited. It will be a good thing to see all those things, the requirements are there, and I think it's 8th and 9th of July. And with this, all these things, some steps have positive outcomes are already there, which are indicated on the bottom right. Now, some perspective about the global, the civil military fusion, a global perspective. Now, it's not a new thing. When we talk about civil military fusion or integration or whatever we may say, if we take example of the US, I've covered here two things. US, and on the left and right is China. Two examples I've taken. In the US, after Second World War, in 1950s and 60s, it was the US Air Force which prompted the development of computer numerical controlled machines, which we see them functioning now also. And the US Navy triggered the growth of containerization, which we see in sea cargo happening now. And after the ARPA, that is the Advanced Research Project, which is now converted into DARPA, that is the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Once this DARPA came into being, a lot of new other technology like internet, which started from the Army, and thereafter it went out to the commercial world, and what we all using now. However, things have changed now. Now, the outside, the speed of change in technology is much faster. And the US also realized that, and they have now come up with Defense Innovation Unit in 2015, and they have the catchphrase, what is written at the bottom, accelerating commercial technology for national security. They are also looking for partners from the private industries, and there are a lot of positive outcomes here as indicated. Now, when we look at China, the four famous modernization, which was enunciated by Deng Xiaoping in 1980s, the defense modernization was fourth priority. They were agriculture, technology, and industrial growth and other things. Since then, some sort of military integration has been taking place. However, after Xi Jinping has come to power in 2014, this civil military integration has been transformed into a national strategy and now called civil military fusion. Because of that, a lot of modernization you are seeing now in PLA, that is the Chinese military. A lot of technology is coming from outside. We talk about informationalization and mechanization, which is the basis of the present modernization, which finished in 2020. A lot of other factors have come from outside. A lot of civil and technology has come. A lot of outsourcing is taking place. And they have a very aspirational target of becoming a world-class military by 2049, which they may achieve even before that. By 2035, they may achieve a capability which is at par with some of the developed countries. They have also demonstrated some of the advanced technologies, which we are all aware, like quantum technologies, quantum communication. They have launched the satellite as well, big data, artificial intelligence, they are working in a big way. So they have demonstrated all these capabilities in a big way. Now, as far as India is concerned, India, we all agree that there was initial years, there was lack of participation coming from the private players, which issue has been recognized now, and we are moving ahead in the right direction. There has been, other than military, in the past there has been integration in a good way. We take example of ISRO, in which in 2019 there was a realization that there are 120 startups which are working in space. So this agency, which is shown there, Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center, was created by the government so that these startups could use the facilities for trials available with ISRO. Within military, Navy, the Naval Design Bureau has been from 60s and 70s, it has been there in the Navy, and it has produced very good result. It's a good example. Now you see there's two naval ships which have been commissioned by Honorable Raksha Mantri recently, I think last month, They were designed by the Naval Design Bureau. We also in Army we have followed suit, and we now have the Army Design Bureau, which is also now started giving some good results. Now this Army Design Bureau is basically to technically scan the acquisition and development all over, and thereafter it provides the right research thrust areas to academia as well as the private players. There is also a method of engagement and hand-holding in terms of providing some funds in case some of the startup and incubators require some funds, and there is a procedure for the same. The aim is to create institutionalized mechanism and catalyze innovation. Now, the Army Design Bureau, as I mentioned, is spearheading the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan as far as the Army is concerned. And it is controlling the trinity of the academia, industries, and the research organization like DRDO and many other startups. So here you have the IITs, which I'll come, some of the MOUs have been done with certain IITs. Now, when we talk about civil-military collaboration, there are several ways now open to everybody who are interested. First is the MOD-led IDEX initiative, which was launched in 2018. And they have a specific Defense India Startup Challenges. It is on the web, and they are nothing else but problem statements. There is a provision of providing up to 1.5 crore help to an industry if they are making some headway with similar amount of investment from their side. However, transformative is the IDEX Prime, which has recently been launched, where there is a provision of providing up to 10 crores of help if required. Then Make to Project, as I mentioned, DAP 2020, it has been launched, and where industries make their own prototype, and thereafter, if it is found fit, we can go ahead with that. The Technological Development Fund is through DRDO, and ADB has a role in this, where aim is to create an ecosystem for promoting self-reliance. Here also, there is up to 10 crores hand-holding can be done. However, there is a procedure, how it has to be followed. And other startups, if they want to undertake, the government has assured that if they come to a certain level, they will be facilitated not only buying the things by the defense forces if they meet the criteria, but also help them to export their products. Now, this slide is just to highlight, if some of you are interested, the innovation of Defense Excellence, IDEX, which I mentioned, which is MOD-led. This is the website which is mentioned here. There are a lot of challenges which I mentioned earlier. Now, just to give an example, the latest challenge related to Army has 35 problem statements. On the left of the view file or the slide, you can see how the challenges are worded. You can go on this website and you can find out, and the interested academia or startups can start working on it. Now, the ADB, which is spearheading the Army part of the Atmanirbhar Abhiyan, has already done MOUs with various IITs. The ones which are indicated on the right, IIT Gandhinagar is already working on the sewage system in high altitude areas. IIT Madras is already working on ramjet engines, and IIT Delhi is working on night vision devices. So there are some projects which are already going on. In Delhi, IIT Delhi, there is a Indian Army cell has been established for liaison purpose. In Pune, there is regional technological node which has been established to facilitate interaction with academia and the industries. So Guwahati can be the one for the Eastern we propose. It can be taken up. It will be a good idea. And at formation levels, we already started interacting with IIT Guwahati on certain problem statements, what we have in our area. Now, this is the engagement model. Partly, some of these issues I have already covered, but it puts everything together. There is a problem statement which either comes from the ADB site or the Indian formation, like here we give the problem statement. The IITs or NITs, they develop a development of concept which will be supported and held by the other agencies like ADB and the formations. They can be helpful there. the prototype will be developed, and there will be joint trials of this prototype. It can be at formation level, or it can be facilitated at apex level at the ADB. And once all these things are found to be in a good state and approved, then a partner of industry will be selected, and thereafter mass production will take place for the approved equipment, which will be the Atmanirbhar product. So this is simplified way for you to understand how things can move ahead. And some of these are already moving ahead this way. These are some of the ongoing projects under ADB which have made certain degree of progress. These are all multi-technology. I will not go over them one by one, but you can have a look. Other than these multi-technologies, there are certain disruptive technology, advanced technologies, and there are certain agencies which are working on this under the ADB. So these are AI-based and also some predictive machine learning and others. Okay, now when we come to the northern borders, since we are here with IIT Guwahati, we have been talking about this northern borders. When I talk on northern borders, we talk about in the area against China on the LAC, which we are all aware. The deployment, some of you must have gone close to it, is in a very harsh conditions. It is, the temperatures are very low. The altitudes are very high, super high, to 15,000, 16,000 feet, 17,000, 18,000, 19,000 at places. The oxygen levels are very low. And troops are staying there, and we have to prepare for the battle in future, time to come. So technology can help us in a big way. 3D technology, which we have already mentioned about improving habitat into those areas, which can come up faster, and it is also cheaper. Silent explosive, oxygen center, on the Chinese side, you find a lot of these things have already come up in the dual use infrastructure. They are in a big number. Operational track constructions, because in these areas, you find that the working time is limited because of extreme weather conditions. So through that, how we can work ahead, harnessing solar, wind energy, underground infrastructure development, these are very important aspects. Lightweight footbridges to enhance mobility. So we have some interactions already where we are thinking about drones, logistic drones in those altitude, big data application, power banks with minimum weight, environment sciences, flora and fauna, very interesting. IIT Guwahati has done a lot of studies on flora and fauna within their campus, so we have suggested that similar thing can be done into our other far-flung areas and publish them into international journals, and will facilitate the same. It will be a good idea. Modular shelters, surveillance and engagement and with local formation, we are already undertaking. So this is just to summarize the way ahead. Focus on private players, which is happening, and more private player needs to come into fray. Transfer of technology is the way ahead. We should look at that. Army Design Bureau is in the right direction, which is making a lot of progress. And what I mentioned, the corporatization model, the OFB, Ordnance Factory Board, now out of 7 corporate entities, 21, which was earlier a loss-making enterprises, 6 of them have already now in profit in April, the figures which have been left. So you see, this was such thing were done by China in 1993. And 1997, they opened up to the market forces. So these initiatives will reap good dividends in time to come, and we are on the right direction. Now, my last slide is this, which you may be surprised why I am showing this. See, you can be an effective member, all of you, the IITians who are here, who are in the studying, doing your master's or PhD. You can help in national security by creating niche technology in whatever field you are in. You may not, even if you don't join the armed forces. And other ways, join the armed forces. This is also a good way. A lot of IITs now started coming in, also in armed forces, because here the life is less ordinary. So I have finished here. Thank you all. I leave this with a small clipping, or a clip for you to go through. Okay. Please click. Thank you.
जोश जगा कुछ भी नहीं आसान यहाँ अपनी राहें खुद ही बना मेहनत कर पसीना बहा रुकना और थकना है मना जीतना चाहे कर तू यहाँ खुद को तैयार जरा get ready to fight 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 टफ टफ है लाइफ यहाँ उससे भी टफ तू बन के दिखा पल पल आगे बढ़ता ही जा खुद को मंजिल तक पहुंचा आज के आगे कल को झुका सोच न तू अब करके दिखा जीतना चाहे कर तू यहाँ कर खुद को तैयार जरा get ready to fight get ready to fight get ready to fight get ready to
Thank you, sir, for your informative talk. And also, we are also thankful to you for sharing with us some of the various activities and the projects that are carried out by the Indian Army. So thank you, sir, for everything. So now, before concluding the session, I request Deputy Director, sir, to present a memento to our esteemed guest, Lieutenant General Dinesh Singh Rana. Thank you, sir.